Welcome to Cassin's Pot, Shots, and Slots, your source of information for alcohol, drugs, gambling, and gaming. Hi, my name is Cindy Jennings, and I'm a counselor with Cassin. I'm with their community treatment program. Pot, Shots, and Slots is here to provide you with weekly information on how to stay safe and manage your current stressors during the COVID-19 pandemic. All you have to do is send an email or a message to our Facebook page or our website, and we will try to get an answer to you as soon as possible. I'd also like to remind you that although our physical office is closed, our phone lines are still open. So here's the number. Anyone can call 905-684-1183 and speak to a counselor. You can be a new client, you can be an existing client, you can be an old client and want to come back. That's great. You can either have a concern yourself or you can be a loved one who has a concern. All you have to do is call 905-684-1183 and you'll be able to speak with a counselor. Today's tip is about anxiety. Anxiety is an emotion that can cause a lot of distress within us. Therefore, a lot of people tend to use when they're feeling anxious. This is an awareness exercise around your physical state of breathing when you're anxious. And I'm also going to give you a skill to use to help to deal with that breathing. There's two ways of breathing that we tend to do when we get anxious. We either hold our breath or we tend to shallow breathe, which is generally from the chest. The key to change this physical state is to learn to be aware of when your breath goes from a calm state to either that holding or shallow breathing, and then take it out again. Here's an example from my life. So, a couple weeks ago, I got the dog out, we're at the park, playing with another dog. I don't know how he does it, but he sees this dog in the far distance, bolts, runs across the street. I'm like anxious as all, I'm dying, screaming for him, there's a lot of chaos. Finally get him back to the house, and I walk in, I'm still anxious. My breathing is still dysregulated, I'm like, so, I got a couple choices here. How do I get myself calm? Maybe I go grab a glass of wine, pour it, and drink it. However, when I choose to do that, what happens is I start to associate the wine with that anxious physical state. So every time I do that, I want a drink of wine when I get anxious. What does that do? Leads me to that addiction cycle and possible negative consequences. If I choose a breathing exercise to regulate myself, which means one of the two, I'm going to give you two examples after this, either a 4 count or a 2 count. Then I associate breathing, which is what I'm actually doing, with regulating my breathing and with no negative consequences. So I'm going to show you here, first of all, the 4 count. So we're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. So it's basically a 4 square. We're going to breathe in for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. I just screwed that up, as you can probably tell, and again. So it's a square pattern that we do it. In, hold, out, hold, and then in again. Try to do that 4 or 5 times until you feel yourself regulated. The next one is our 2 count. So basically it's what it is. Breathe in for 2, out for 2. In for 2, out for 2. So, and I can either count or I can use words. I can say something like, I am calm as I'm breathing in and out. So I can do I am calm. So when I breathe in, I say I am, and when I breathe out, I say calm. Or I can breathe in and say I am, breathe out, say safe. So those are 2 different ways that we can choose to change our breath when we're feeling anxious. However, the key to this is practice. Now, practice, 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 right? Practice makes perfect. Remember when you learned to ride a bike? You couldn't ride it great at first. However, the next thing you know, you're not even thinking about it and riding it. And then in that emergency state, when that dog is loose from that person who didn't pay attention at the park and he ran across the street, you can ride your bike fast as it's chasing you. So how do I practice? Doing the dishes, think, oh, notice my breathing. I'm going to do in for 2, out for 2, in for 2, out for 2. I'm watching TV. Maybe I'll do a 4 square while I'm watching TV. In for 4, out for 4, in for 4, out for 4. Again, the more I practice, the more I'm ready for that stressful situation, and I won't even have to think about it. So finally, I'd like to remind you, call Casson if you need any help at 905-684-1183, and please be safe and keep smiling.